The simplest stories are usually the best stories, so seeing the rated R superstar Edge go to Raw, go to NXT, and now go to SmackDown, just going, well, I did win the Royal Rumble, which world champion should I take on? Is just good stuff, it's just entertaining, and for all those people going, oh, he's too old, I can't believe he won the Royal Rumble, why do you want to crap over narrative? That's all wrestling is. But hey ho, that's just the world we live in, and we also live in a world where a few times a week I, Simon here at WhatCulture Wrestling, take my finger of power, and I give the good bits an up, and I give the bad bits a down. And given that WWE just threw another show into my face, well, I think we should do that right now. So let's up those downs for SmackDown. SmackDown started with a memorial graphic for Butch Reed, who very sadly did pass away this week. And I will just tell you, if you have never seen Butch Reed, load it up on the WWE Network or find it on YouTube. You gotta watch that guy. He's massive, but he moves with the speed of a cat. It is pretty damn impressive, and as always, thoughts with his friends and family. And talking about family, out came Roman Reigns to start the show up. He is just the best, because the constant criticism that is thrown at wrestling, especially WWE, is that we approach everything in the exactly same manner as we did before. Well, Roman, our tribal chief, he ain't doing that, because he got on a microphone, he was like, what the flub is going on? Why is Edge going to Raw? Why is Edge going to NXT? I'm the main event of WrestleMania. He should have skipped them, and he should be here right now, kissing my damn feet. Roman then got any madder because why has he come out first? Edge should have already been in the ring, and therefore, it's disrespectful. The only problem with the Roman Reigns disrespectful argument is you could probably go up to Roman and go, hi Roman. He'd go, you can't say hi. You have to say, hello Roman. And then he'd get all angry again and he'd yell it in your face. Basically, if you ever meet Roman Reigns, you just stand still and you don't say anything. And you're probably still standing wrong. The head of the table demanded Edge came out here, right now. And when he didn't, honestly, if his head had just gone and exploded, I wouldn't have been surprised. Reigns has got to have a very stressful life. As it turned out, the radar superstar wasn't even in the building yet, and you can imagine how Roman took that, and he stormed off by saying, you better give me an answer before the end of the night, otherwise there's going to be serious consequences. And look, if I was Edge, I would have told him yesterday, and also I would have sent him a lovely bouquet of flowers. This is why good characters are so important though. You can fit them into new feuds and you can fit them into new stories, and they just click because you know how they're going to operate beforehand, and when they do, you're like, ah, ooda lally, this is fabu. Paul Heyman was awesome here too, because he was just acting as producer at one point, and he was all like, play Edge's music and play Edge's pyro right now. And it still didn't work. What a great group we have. We were then back to our Baron Corbin versus Mysterio feud, and we also found out what the hell happened to the Knights of the Lone Wolf, because of course they had fallen into a black hole recently and we'd never seen them. Well, Steve Cutler has been fired, so I guess that's the end of that, which is disappointing. I quite like them, but I also like this feud. I don't really get why we're doing another go-around, given that Baron Corbin has been whooping Dominic Mysterio's ass for so long, but at least this one had a little bit of a twist, and that came in the form of Rey Mysterio. Here he is sitting in my hand. Because as usual, Corbin was a massive dick here, and he beat the hell out of Dominic and Rey as they were making their entrance, and he also grabbed Daddy Mysterio and just chucked him off the stage, to the point medical personnel had to come out and they was like, oh no, Rey's knee. So I was worried about Rey's knee. Now the whole point of doing this was to ensure that you felt sympathy for Rey Mysterio, because what he and his son were about to pull off, well, in short, they kind of screwed Baron Corbin, and it did make me scratch my head just a little bit. Because basically, after Rey had limped to the ring, he then went under the damn thing, and as soon as he could smell Baron Corbin, I suppose, he reached out from under the apron, he grabbed his leg, that allowed Dominic to hit the 619, that allowed Dominic to hit the frog splash, and he beat him, but he only beat him because his dad, who was meant to be the ultimate good guy, cheated. And even more strangely, the commentators were like, oh, it's Eddie Guerrero. And I was like, what? So yeah, like I say, I kind of felt like Baron Corbin got screwed here, and he's absolutely meant to be the good guy. But honestly, I don't know what it is. I enjoy seeing this family team up to try and get the victory by any means necessary. Although it would have been much better if the referee just hadn't been looking and Rey Mysterio had punched Baron Corbin right in the face. At least that way, he would have been a cool dad, here just grabbing someone's foot. Kind of sad. Of course, though, that does count as a distraction, so we have to bring down the board, and I'm not going to lie, I am losing track again because we just have so many distractions. But it is up to number
24.
And very sadly, because this SmackDown actually doesn't deserve it because it was brilliant, but you know the deal, we got to give it a down. We then saw the footage from last week when Sami Zayn had beaten up Apollo Crews and Big E, which meant tonight we were having a triple threat match for the IC Championship. And then we cut to the Big E, and he just cut a promo where he said, you know what, I'm going to retain my title. And I was like, I really hope you do, Big E. You the best. It was then back to the whole, hey, let's just do a random match. And I presume we just picked names out of a hat. And one was Daniel Bryan, and one was Cesaro. And even though they fought a couple of weeks ago, they fought again. But you know how this works. They're just such good wrestlers that you have to talk through your teeth up. In case you haven't heard as well, it does sound very likely that Cesaro has re-signed with WWE, which could explain why all of a sudden he is getting a push. Because yes, once more here, he took on Daniel Bryan and he won. So you got to imagine that Daniel Bryan has now decided his new pet project is to try and make the Swiss Superman a star, and if they keep finishing matches like this, they absolutely will. Because Daniel Bryan ran at Cesaro to give him the running knee, Cesaro caught him, threw him up in the air, and gave him one of the sickest backbreakers I have ever seen. The man makes no sense, it's like weight just doesn't exist. And then he got Bryan, he swung him round, applied a damn good sharpshooter, and if you can believe it, the yes man had to tap out. This made Cesaro look like an absolute badass, and I think we may be actually turning him good guy here, because afterwards he wandered up to Daniel Bryan, and there was a show and a sign of respect. Obviously Bryan didn't trust it at all, because why the hell would you? And even though I know what I would like WWE to do, it is WWE, so it could probably go around about 67,322 ways. As a small side note too, we did cut to the back and we saw Shinsuke Nakamura watching this, but otherwise, if you were only going to watch one thing from SmackDown, it should probably be this. Bianca Belair promo next, and she knows how to talk to make you care. Obviously at this juncture, she doesn't know what she's going to do when it comes to her Royal Rumble winning decision, but let's keep it nice and simple. You put her against Sasha Banks. I know it's not too soon, as people keep saying. If you don't strike when the iron is hot, you know what happens in WWE. People literally vanish. I don't want that to happen to Bianca Belair. Bayley then defeated Ruby Riot. And do I know why that happened? No, I don't. But did I have fun? Yes. Billie Kay also joined commentary here. And while I know she is a bit of a divisive figure, I just want to remind you that I think she's great. Because these kind of things happen. They were like, why are you out here with the Riot Squad? They kicked you out. And Billie Kay, without thinking about it, just went, allegedly. They allegedly kicked me out, even though we all saw with our two eyes, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot kicked her out. Then when they asked her about the Royal Rumble and getting tossed out of that, she went, I allegedly got tossed out of the Royal Rumble. And it got even better when Bayley injured Ruby's shoulder. Now, it made sense why Liv Morgan was so concerned, but Billie Kay jumped out of her seat as if the worst thing ever had happened and as if Ruby Riot was about to die. And of course it was Kay that screwed all this up too. When Bayley did have that hold on and she was causing more damage, Billie was trying to get in the ring before Liv Morgan stopped her, and this one doesn't actually count as a distraction. Because Ruby Riot got out of it, she went for a pin, failed, Bayley then hit the rosebud ding dong hello, whatever she calls it, and she got the 1, 2, 3. And then just to put the icing on the cake, Billie Kay turned her back on the Riot Squad and she walked over to Bayley like, would you like to see my CV, mate? Maybe we could team up. What a complete wonderful piece of trash she is. And also, now I think about it, if you do want to do some kind of team between Billie Kay and Bayley and call them Babs, I actually think it might work. And then you can do those two against the Riot Squad. I don't mind that at all. We saw Edge in the back, so he's finally arrived at the building to have his confrontation with Roman Reigns, and then Bianca Belair did kind of the same thing she did in the back in the ring, but as I'm sure you've already figured out, I am just a big fan. She knew that the WrestleMania decision was the biggest thing she's ever had to decide upon in her life. So she needs to think about Asuka, she needs to think about Sasha Banks, and she will take her time as any good Royal Rumble winner should. Then it kind of got a bit weird, because both Reginald and Carmella eventually came out to interrupt her, and Reginald was being all manipulative, saying, oh, you can't beat Sasha Banks, just go after Asuka instead, and Carmella said the same, but also kind of acted like she deserves another shot at the SmackDown Women's Championship. And I'm sorry, there is no way you can justify that, be it TLC or the Rumble itself. Banks has whooped her ass this was just a little bit too much. And look, even if you go, yes, Simon, but she's a bad guy, so she's just acting that way. Okay, but you can only do that for so long. If I wander here on Ups and Downs and go, oh, look at my luxurious hair, eventually you'll be like, Simon, you're a bald asshole. That's as smooth as a baby's ass. Thankfully, Sasha then came out to put some sense back into this because she completely understands that Bianca Belair does have it all, but what she doesn't have is the SmackDown Women's title. And if she tries to go after it, she gonna fail. So I was all like, yes, hell yeah, make this match at some point in the future because you've got plenty of time. But more importantly, get these other two people out the ring. They don't need to be here. They didn't go, and instead Reg tried to knock Bianca's confidence even more. So she just got her hair and started whipping him with it. And who knew that we'd be talking so much about hair on a show where the man hosting it has absolutely none of it. The point is, Bianca hasn't made her decision yet, but surely it does have to be Banks. Look, I do understand it. I do get it. We're inserting Carmella and Reginald here because we do have so long before WrestleMania, so you can do some dipsy-dozo, ups, down, left, right feud. But don't do anything silly. And for the love of everything, don't have Carmella beat Bianca Belair. I mean, that would be crazy. Literally, I will get you sectioned. I won't. Paul Heyman, that crackpot, then went up to Roman Reigns and told him that Edge was in the building. What are you doing, Paul? Don't tell him this. And of course, straight away Roman was like, "Rah!" and just exploded like a volcano. Somebody needs to keep him calm. Sami Zayn interview also followed this, and he is going to continue to make his documentary, but much sooner than that, he is going to win the IC title. And I was like, well, thanks a lot for that, spoiler Sami. Now I don't even have to watch it. Before that, though, we were back to the magic hat of dreams that does tell us who's going to fight on SmackDown, because we had the tag team champions, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, taking on Otis and Chad Gable. Thing is, though, they're so good. Now, as a quick aside, I do want to point out, imagine if we took a little bit more time with this and actually built a story, how good would it be then? And we did have Chad Gable and Otis beforehand saying, look, it's okay, we are going to be victorious in this match because we've been training at the Alpha Academy. No. We also got inset commentary from the Street Profits here, and I just want to make it very clear that we should never do that again because it was incredibly distracting. But otherwise, this was just a fine wrestling match. Like, Chad Gable and Dolph Ziggler know what they're doing, so in the start they were just like grappling around with each other, and Otis is just a barrel of joy. We all know that. He's so entertaining in the ring. I don't understand why we don't feature him more. I mean, he's kind of like everyday Father Christmas, and who doesn't want that? And the only real problem with this match is that you just knew that Otis and Chad Gable were never going to win. So after Gable had done a few cool moves, he walked into Bobby Roode's DDT, and he got pinned for the 1-2-3. And I enjoyed that because it rhymed. Maybe one day we will get a proper feud though, or at least one that can go build. But hey, it was a clean finish. And I'm never gonna moan about that. Hulk Hogan was then here remotely because it's been 33 years since apparently 33 million people watched him take on Andre the Giant on Main Event. And I was like, okay, do we really need to do this? Do we really need to talk about it? It was just there. Whatever. The triple threat intercontinental title match was next though, and it is getting it up. Sami Zayn is just excellent because he decided if Apollo Crews and Big E wanted to fight, he was just going to chill outside the ring and wait till he saw his opportunity. But even when he thought he had one, he got in there, Big E punched him, and back out he went. What a glorious fall. Apollo Crews was then hitting German suplexes on Big E as if he was a cruiserweight. When Big E was back in control, he went to that crazy spear on Apollo, who was on the apron. But then Sami Zayn stopped that, he got his revenge, and he pulled him to the floor. So Crews went hey-ho, and he dove over the top rope. We had our working shoes on tonight. As we had three guys as well, we did that crazy spot where Apollo Crews was going to give an exploder suplex to Sami Zayn, but then Big E grabbed Apollo Crews and gave him a German suplex. So you saw two German suplexes, but also had to watch it 100 times because it made absolutely no sense. And Corey Graves was like, I've never seen that before. And look, it is incredible every single time, but we really have seen it before. The really interesting part though was that towards the end, Sami Zayn actually hit the haluva kick onto Big E, and he had him pinned for the 1-2-3. But when we got to 2.9999999, Apollo Crews was on the outside, grabbed Sami's leg, and he pulled him out of the ring. So if you wanted more content for that conspiracy documentary, well, you just found it. Apollo also then went nuts and he gorilla press slammed Sami Zayn into the timekeeping area, and when he got back in the ring, Big E had recovered, he slammed him with the big ending, and he got the victory. Honestly, what a great time I had. There was even more to this as well though, because afterwards Apollo Crews was so mad and he was glaring at Big E like, oh, you son of a gun. So what we need to do now is we need to put Apollo back with Roman Reigns. Remember we teased that a few weeks ago? It's what we should do. It should also lead to Apollo Crews winning the Intercontinental title, because then he can have it and it'll make Roman's group look even better. Please just do this, because also you'll be planting the seeds for Big E versus Roman Reigns at some point down the line. It really is that simple. Which did bring us to our main event angle and Edge and his big decision. And of course he wasn't going to make it here. We have 2 pay-per-views before we get to WrestleMania, but still, it was so easy to watch. Even with all of this, our Royal Rumble winner still wanted to stir the pots. He was like, am I going to face Drew McIntyre? Am I going to face Finn Balor? Or am I going to face Roman Reigns? And because he has said Roman Reigns' name, poof, out he came. Boy howdy, I tell you, if you thought Roman was mad before, now he was absolutely livid, and Edge wound him up straight away by going, let's just do some maths here. I'm out here by myself, and you've come out with an entire flock. But because Roman Reigns is so good, and because Roman Reigns is so quick, he was like, look, I promise you, Adam, I won't let Paul attack you unless I give the word. I was like, bravo, that's good. Edge still claimed that he knew that he was in Roman Reigns' head, hence why Jey Uso was out here. So Roman sent Jey to the back, and then he's found a whole new thing that he wants to get on. He doesn't care about tables anymore or the tribalness or anything like that. Now he wants Edge to declare him the real main event of WrestleMania, but also to say his name. I mean, I tell you, I cannot keep up with Roman Reigns. The two then stared off, and I'm not gonna lie, I did get some goosebumps, when from nowhere, Kevin Owens was on SmackDown, and he gave Edge the Stone Cold Stunner, got the microphone, looked at Roman Reigns and went, Roman, you're the main event, we love you, oh, Roman Reigns. Of course, that didn't happen. Imagine it did. He gave the stunner to Roman Reigns, and him and Edge smiled at each other like they were in love. It also allowed Edge to get out of there without him making his decision, and I know, kind of like the Carmella stuff, you can be like, why the hell would Kevin Owens get another go around here? Although the big difference is that Roman Reigns did screw him over, but also, come on now, let's be honest. If this means we get Edge and Kevin Owens taking on Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, well, plug me in, baby, because that's what I want to see. So once again, it just goes to show that SmackDown is one of the best wrestling shows on TV. Everything makes sense, and it just plods along at such a good pace. And when you do those kind of things, you get an overall up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You can also go to WhatCulture.com and read. It's good for your brain. You can watch another video, they're around my head right now, stay on the channel, or you can follow us on social media. You just search for WhatCulture. My name is Simon for WhatCulture, thank you for joining me, and in case Roman Reigns did watch this, anything I said that was negative was just a joke. I love you, you're the best, you're the main event of WrestleMania, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, here's a fake chair for you. I think that's all that you want. Goodbye.